Hi, everybody. So, this is episode 2 of our podcast, and I'm here today with Dan Noden. Hi, Dan.
Good evening, Steph. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank
Good.
you. If anybody's coming in on the second episode, I hope you're not. I hope that you've watched the first one so that you understand the gist of the story. But just in case, my name's Stephanie Unthank-Latter, and I'm a professional mindfulness teacher. I've been practicing mindfulness and meditation for 10 years and teaching professionally for 8. And yeah, our podcast, which we've called From Pints to Presence, which we explained and talked about in the first episode. We're picking up today on the second episode, and I guess it could be useful just to recap really briefly in maybe 15 seconds that what we explored in the first episode was just around how Dan came to mindfulness, what that initial journey's been like, and how it supported him in making some real change to, I guess, the way he was and the things that he maybe wasn't finding yeah, too easy or yeah, too easy to cope with, too easy to live with. So we had a great first chat, didn't we, Dan? That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very enlightening for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, really good. And then today, what we're doing is we're just coming back together and we're going to take some time now just to talk a little bit about the real change and what you, Dan, have noticed in yourself. So let's maybe just kick this around a little bit. And maybe just would it be useful just to start with, what do you think? What's the most surprising thing that you feel has changed in you? What do you see? How do
My
you feel?
my biggest shift in any part of my life really has been my kind of calmness now and my patience.
Yeah,
Um, it's it's the little things in life. It's the wheel. I used to get bad like road rage, for example. Like somebody cuts you up in traffic, you're
yeah, I do.
swearing, you're gesturing, and then for the rest of your drive or your way to work, your commute, all you're thinking about is what I'd love to do to that prick who just cut me up in the road. And like you come again, you're coming up with all these scenarios in your head, and I don't get it anymore. I just get someone's late for work, probably half asleep. Could have took the kids to bad night of sleep. Something's real. Like you just forget about it. I don't brood on it. I can just meditate very quickly, and that's it. So it's like it's the calmness, the patience.
Nice.
It's the not getting angry. Like for a bloke, this is a good one. So I'm a massive Spurs fan, right? At the minute, Arsenal are top of the league. They're looking fucking brilliant, which doesn't wind me up now. For years, it would have done. Like this would be
Yeah,
hell for me right now, but for some reason, mindfulness and meditation has just helped ground me. It's like I'm still passionate about football. I'm still passionate about my beloved Spurs, but Arsenal being top of the league would rattle me like it would, and it doesn't anymore. It's like I can just quickly meditate. Arsenal won, Spurs lost again. Same old story. Like, and I can move on. Before it would literally ruin my weekend, and it would
yeah,
ruin my week. And it's like for some reason, mindfulness is giving me the skills to cope with just little things like that. It's funny. I said it's something that I've always you just think it's there and it's never going to go away. And it's
yeah.
now I can just get on with it, get on with my life. Sunday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, Spurs have lost. Never mind. Like we'll bounce back next week. Arsenal in the league, fair play to them. It's like they deserve it, and I've got a few Arsenal mates. I actually feel happy for them. Like let them enjoy themselves, and that's
Oh,
as a bloke. That's the shift in my mentality now. It's like I said for years I'd have been like jealous and I'd have been pissed off, and now I'm like
yeah,
it is what it is,
yeah,
and it's like I
yeah.
said,
I've got three things, if that's all right, that is just
yeah,
really coming up from me from what you just said. I'll try and remember these because I'm really struggling with menopause brain fog at the moment. It's absolutely been horrendous this week, particularly. So the first one is the bit that you just said around patience and tolerance and just being kind of able to feel a little bit more settled, right?
yeah,
And you use the example of driving. Oh my God, right? So this week, and you and I live in the same town, so you'll get this, you'll feel this. There
yeah,
had been, and there has been for a while, the most horrendous roadworks. And there's where I live, as you know, sort of the Willesborough end. There's this
yeah,
like 2 mile round route that you have to do in my road to go out and then come back
like
and get back into it again. It's an
diversion,
absolute
yeah,
bloody nightmare. But you're right, with mindfulness, I am able to go out in the car and to just be at peace with what's there because I can't change it.
that's
And
right,
actually just turn the radio up, enjoy myself in the fact that I've got an extra 10 minutes to myself in the car,
yeah, yeah,
maybe listen to a podcast, maybe smile a bit. But I went out the other day and I can't tell you, it was horrendous. It took me 46 minutes to do a 12-minute journey, right? But what I saw that day, I was so passionate about the experience that I had. I came back and I did a TikTok live on it
Really?
just to say to people, like, guys, like, if there's one thing that you do in your life, just recognize the fact that if you live in the UK and you live anywhere near a town or a city, there are more cars on the road than there's ever been. And unfortunately, where there's a lot of cars and a lot of roads, there's going to always be roadworks.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we will always suffer from these moments of challenge and stress. And like being out in the car in the middle of that, it's not doing any of us any good, allowing ourselves getting triggered.
yeah. That's right.
And honestly, all I saw was like this sea of people in cars queuing, bibbing, fingers up, out windows, swearing at each other, cutting each other up. And I was just like, I mean, there was some humour in it, to be honest. So I was
Yeah,
like, oh my goodness, these poor people. And I don't mean humour from the perspective of being nasty, but just like I
yeah,
can't believe people are getting so wound up.
yeah. That's right.
So
Honestly, that's,
that really grabbed me when you just said that.
yeah,
And maybe at some point in one of the other podcasts, we'll talk a bit about the neuroscience that sits behind that and what it actually does to the body when
yeah,
those
yeah,
things happen and how mindfulness can help support that not happening, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but the other thing that's just come to me is when you said about calmness and patience and tolerance, what has that done to, I'm going to say the word relationships, but broadly. So work relationships, relatives, partner, child. Like, what has that done to your relationships?
I would weirdly, my massive thing is honesty and stuff now. Like I've found myself being a lot more honest with people, whether it's just generally positive. Like it's I'd say what I'm thinking. Again, it's not in my nature to be. I'm usually a sitter on the fence. I will tend to, I don't want to take sides in arguments. I don't like confrontation, but I will hit things head on now. Like again, it's the not brooding thing. It's the if I disagree with something, I will say to them, whether it be a work colleague, a friend, a family member, like you might not agree with what I'm going to say, but this is this is what I'm thinking, or this is what I want to happen. And in response to that, I might get a reply that I don't like, but I will digest that more now, and I'll be quick to apologise or quick to say, you know what, you're right. I said for some reason now it's triggered this kind of honesty and this ability now just to appreciate when I'm wrong. A lot of people when you get in a little row or you get in an argument and you get back, people just shout and they eventually they just they can't admit they're wrong. They just go in tangents and scream and swear and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
again, I've it's given me the ability just to process a bit quicker, where I'm more present and not living in the moment. It's like I can digest what people are saying quicker, and I can appreciate what I'm saying better. And like I said, I'm quicker to apologise if I'm wrong, or I'm quicker to it's just more honest. I think is probably what's come with it.
Yeah,
And
and
that,
just letting things go as well, right?
yeah,
Just
yeah,
allowing things to let things go. Because I have this conversation with a lot of people when we're first learning mindfulness. There tends to be this kind of what would I call it? Like a pendulum swing in a direction of everything being okay and everything being rosy, and actually, almost like you're learning mindfulness and you start to back down a little bit more than you might have done in the past. And that's really, really good. That's a good way
yeah,
to be. Because actually, what's the point in arguing and getting into altercations just because you think your point is the right point? But once we get into the rhythm of mindfulness and we start to learn more about ourselves and how we're changing, we're able to bring that pendulum back to the center and find a way to still have an opinion, but to do it with compassion and care.
yeah, yeah.
Where actually
That's
we're okay with just letting go, and you have your opinion, I'll have mine. It's
yeah,
absolutely fine, but
that's
we
it.
don't have to agree, and that's all right, mate.
But
It's
that's
absolutely fine.
there doesn't have to be a winner or a loser in an
Don't have
argument.
to. Oh, that's it. That's spot on. There
You
doesn't have
can
to be a winner.
you
Spot on.
you can just take it all on board. I can take it all on board now, and I said
Yeah.
I can admit, you don't have to push it. Like I would, sometimes there'll be times where you just push it, and now I'm at a point where I can just go, you know what, most things are subjective in life anyway, so there's never really a right or wrong answer generally, unless it's a matter of
Love
fact.
that.
And then yeah, you just let them have their opinion, and I have my opinion, and let's just shake hands, kiss, cuddle, whatever, whoever it might be, whether it, whatever the environment is you're having this particular conversation in, you can just, as I said, and it has to work both ways. Though unfortunately, there are still people that I have to deal with that won't admit they're wrong, and but
Yeah.
I'll back down. Like you said, another part is just not saying what you're thinking. There are times where
Yes.
I know I kind of know I'm
Yeah.
right, but I know the reaction I will get, so I just keep my well. Before I would have just said what I'm saying and like, fuck you, I'm all right. So I'm gonna beat you down with my little retort now. And it's like, I don't need to.
Yeah.
It's not gonna make me feel any better. It's not gonna make them feel any better. Just let it ride. And I said, check in with yourself, meditate, breathe, calm again, move on. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what meditation has given me the skills to do again. I say it's a big word
Yeah. That's
in meditation
lovely.
is
That's really
skills.
lovely.
And that's where I'm at in life. As I said,
Yeah.
I think we're going to touch on this a little bit later as to where I've, this, like we said, this isn't a quick fix. This isn't something. I've still got a lot to work on. I know that, but as I said, I'm picking up slowly the skills of mindfulness and what it's bringing to me, and the positives and the
Yeah.
negatives. In sometimes that being honest, unfortunately, sometimes does upset people, and that's something I'm learning to. I'll probably not as much now, but I've been over pushing it probably sometimes in my honesty. Nothing too savage. Just like just I swear instead of brooding, I'll just say not what I'm thinking all the time, but there's probably a few times my work colleagues are
Yeah.
probably I need to back off every now and then, but that's I'm a work in progress still in that respect.
Of course you are. We all are. We all are.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. I said at the beginning, I might have been practicing for 10 and teaching professionally for 8. I'm not even a bit through. I mean, this is a life journey, as we said, and we are going to touch on that. And it's something that you just continue to develop and grow and deepen a connection with for the rest of your life. It's not a
yeah,
quick
yeah.
fix. It's not a
No,
tablet. You can't take a tablet and all of a sudden be zen the next
yeah.
day. It doesn't work like that. Yeah.
For me with this, there is no end point. There's not a goal I'm
No.
aiming for. There's not like a,
Oh,
wow, I'm going to get to this point and then I've completed it. I know that's never going to happen. And life's always going to be challenging, and I'm still going to learn something new every day about myself and the world just by being patient and by using meditation and mindfulness. And said, I'm never, I'm, we're going to talk more about practices probably at some point, and the whole learning to not think. Like I've never once done a 1 minute breathing meditation where my mind doesn't wander, and it's like you think for years, not for years, for the first few weeks, months, I was like, why can't I do this? Why can't I not? I can't meditate. Like, I can't turn my brain off. But it's not about. I now realise it's not about that, and that's one thing. So going probably
yeah.
forward, we will talk about, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
seeing your
Well,
thoughts.
look, yeah, we will talk about that. We'll get to that in a sec. I think I just want to address something as well. I said earlier there's 3 things I wanted to say to you, and for the people that are really listening, they'll know that I only said 2, and that's because my menopause brain kicked in, and I forgot the third
Yeah,
thing, and then it just came back to me, and it's only a quick thing actually. You said earlier about Arsenal playing Tottenham, and in the past that if Arsenal beat Tottenham, you'd have the ump for the whole weekend, and it would
yeah,
write
yeah,
your weekend off, right? And I really smiled when you said that, Dan, because in mindfulness we call that sympathetic joy.
yeah, yeah.
So when you recognize somebody else's joy, to be able to celebrate that joy with them side
At
by
my
side
at
is
my own
about having
expense. Yeah,
sympathetic
that's right.
joy. So it's about I am aware of the joy that you have and how that's making you feel, and
Yeah,
therefore I want to celebrate that joy with you and
yeah,
hold you up and be with you in that moment. And that's a really mindful, compassionate thing to do. And I was listening to another podcast, actually, somebody else's podcast this morning, and they said that when people get jealous, the reason they get jealous is because the other person is doing a thing that they really want to do.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like if you imagine that winning a cup or something like that,
100%.
you would be a bit pissed off and you wouldn't be able to have sympathetic joy for them. And it's because you
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
want that for yourself. You want to
And
be able
and
to celebrate for
as I said,
yourself. So yeah, sympathetic joy.
on a
And
positive side.
I just think like imagine being in a world where any time somebody had something good going on in their lives and the people around them just said to them, I am so bloody pleased for you.
Yeah, yeah,
And they really meant it.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they
That's
really
what.
meant it, right? Imagine the world we would live in.
Yeah, I said it'll be a
Oh
beautiful.
my God, it blows my mind. And I would say to anyone watching this, just try it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
100%.
know what I mean?
And
Just try it.
using the football analogy again, it works both ways for me now because, like I said, my mates can't rattle me as much either. So I said
No.
I genuinely am, because I genuinely am. Like you said, I'm feeling their happiness for them, and it's like, do you know what? I know my mate's feeling good. My best mate Mac, best man at my wedding, he's an Arsenal fan, and we give each other a bit of shit. And I
Love
said,
this.
now I'm just like, right, I'm pleased for you, and I genuinely am pleased for him now. And it's like
Yeah.
probably people are gonna hate me now, my Spurs fans, mate. So it'll just be like you can't enjoy them winning stuff, and it's like, look, it is what it is. It's
Yeah,
at
yeah, yeah,
least
yeah.
someone's happy. Like at least
Yeah,
someone
exactly. Someone has to be, and that's great, isn't it?
exactly.
That's great. We
100%.
talked we talked earlier about relationships, and I'm wondering if there's like a tag on this in terms of what do people say about you, like in terms of your new energy? Have they noticed anything, or
You
would
know,
you? Yeah,
like weird, not weirdly, but my home life, my wife will tell you I'm a completely different human being. But genuinely, people that my friends and people I work with and people I'd spend time with, play football with, go to football with, they've not really noticed a difference. So, like in my mind, that's a positive because it hasn't changed who I am. It hasn't. And bearing in mind, we're talking. I said I'm not pushing sobriety anymore. That was kind of last week, and that's my thing. Sobriety just went hand in hand with this. But it goes to show that where my mind is at and my kind of soul almost drunk Dan's still there. Like I said, I don't want to mess about alcohol and sobriety anymore, but I can still be the person I was. So for me to do something as drastic as giving up drinking, and then to still no one really notices a difference in me. To me, that's a plus rather than people going, oh, Dan's really different, or he's more subdued, he's more,
yeah,
there'll probably be a few people I spend a lot of time with, probably my work colleagues, and some a lot calmer now, whereas my friends haven't really noticed a major difference in me. And to me, I said that's almost a good thing because my I've changed. I know I've changed. Kind of my mind and my thoughts have changed, but my persona hasn't, which like I said,
yeah.
to me is a major plus, because I didn't want to become withdrawn or unsociable or boring because I've suddenly took up doing meditation, and that hasn't happened. And like I said, I can still have a laugh, have a joke, have the crack with my mates, and I said in that respect. But I said my home life it's been a game changer, like 100% been a game changer. Like just productivity, going back to the snappiness and the when you're meditating and you're clearer thinking and you're present. I think that's the massive buzzword for me is present. Everything happens so quickly. Like my wife works on a Saturday. She's a hairdresser. Michaela, obviously, her. She'd go, "Oh, can you put the washing out and change the bed sheets today for me whilst I'm at work?" And old me would have been like with a hangover and just being a negative mindset, anxious or depressed or wherever I'd have been. It would have been, oh, for fuck's sake, do I got to change these bed sheets today? And I put the washing out and just the horrible little. And you would snap and you would be. You would be nasty some days. Some days it's fine. Some weekends it's not. Generally hangover would probably be worse. But it's like when you're thinking clear and you're present, changing bed sheets takes 5 minutes. Putting out some washing takes 2 minutes. But for me, it used to take half an hour because you're thinking about things, and you look at a pillow and go, God, that looks like my ex-boss's head. Fucking hell, twat. And then you'd be like, fucking my ex-boss was a dickhead. And before you know it took you half hour to change a pillowcase. And it's like, I don't get that anymore. I'm concentrating on changing the bed sheets. Like it's just done. Just get the bed sheets done. 5 minutes is nothing. Honestly, it's no bother anymore. And that's the major
It's
thing I've found.
like finding the joy in it. I'm not like I know for some people they're going to find this a bit difficult, but when I put bed sheets on the bed that are clean, obviously
Yeah,
clean, oh my God,
yeah, yeah.
the smell, the texture. Like I've got a thing about like French linen, but the texture of it, and when you shake it and you put it out and you're smoothing it, oh my
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
like the bed looks
But
so nice.
I, I
I'm like,
used
there's
to
so much joy in that.
I used to find it really frustrating, and now it's like I said, it's just a job I do, and I wouldn't say I enjoy it. I'm not going to take the piss and say yeah, I love changing the bed sheets, but I don't mind it. It's just a job now. It's just a quick
I
five
don't mind
minute,
it.
and
Yeah.
it's gardening's another one. Like I've never been a gardener, and now I'm tending to my roses and doing stuff in the garden, and it's like I almost question who I am sometimes. But that would be time that I would waste normally. But I would just be again. It would be I know this needs doing, so I better do it. And I'd be like huffing and puffing, and you'd be kind of like. And now I again weirdly like I see the roses like I'm really proud of my roses now. I don't know if I just mentioned it, but I see them for what they are. Like I enjoy looking. It's like another little part of my life is looking after these roses, and then all of a sudden I pop home one night after work and one's budded, and I'm like, got this. No one else really notices, but it's just, again, it's that seeing the vibrancy of the colours and knowing that I've potentially helped, produce this little bad boy rose that I'm now all of a sudden so proud of.
Yeah.
And it's like
Lush.
it's just little things like that, and it's just a little 5-10 minute job watering the flowers in the summer, or as I said, looking after them in the winter, wherever it might be. And it's, I
Yeah.
don't know, just again,
But it's a
that's
very different frame of mind, isn't it? Like if I pegged the washing out pre-mindfulness, I'd have been. If I'm being honest with you, I used to hate stuff like that. But
yeah,
I can honestly tell you, like as an example, putting the washing out this year, I remember many, many times where I've been putting the washing out and just standing there and thinking, I am so grateful for this weather.
yeah, yeah,
I'm so grateful for this weather. Really taking my time with every peg because
yeah, yeah.
frankly, I didn't really want to go back indoors either. For it
No,
to
no,
be in the sunshine. It's beating down on my face first thing in the morning. The garden's lovely and warm. And I'm like, how lucky am I that I can
yeah,
take
yeah.
wet washing, put it on a line, and it's going to be dry within 2 hours because I've got a
Yeah, that's right.
beautiful
And
sunny garden.
like I said, it's the having, it's the enjoyment, not the enjoyment, but it's the thankfulness. It's yeah,
It is about gratitude,
and
yeah.
and do you know what? Again, I was one of them blokes that 2 years ago I'd have been like, I expect a fucking medal for doing this, like, and it's not that much hard work, like, but generally
Wow.
that's what we do. We're idiots, us blokes sometimes. And I was one.
Wow.
Not all the time, but it's just like, and now I don't do it to impress my wife. I don't do it to. It's just a
No.
job that needs doing, and I don't mind
Yeah.
doing it. I enjoy it, and I said I'm present for
Beautiful.
it, and it takes 5 minutes, and it's like you said, it's
Mm.
in the garden, and it's when you're checking in with yourself as regularly as I do now. It's like you see the things in the garden, you hear the birds singing, you feel the breeze on your skin because you're aware of what's going on, and it's all just this big. I don't know. Like I said, I sound like, again, going back last week, it's like I'm a hippie, but it's not. It's just these little brief little moments you have throughout the day that
Yeah.
you
It's
make you
those
appreciate.
breaks. It's like a fire break. They're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
fire breaks in the day. You know, life is so stressful, so overwhelming a lot of the time. We are faced into difficulty and challenge at a macro and micro level more than we've ever been as a society.
yeah, yeah.
So these fire breaks that we can give ourselves throughout the day are just so meaningful and beautiful. And do you know what? Let's carry on with this theme because this is really good. And I'm thinking now, when you think about you as a person, right? And when I'm teaching mindfulness, I talk quite a lot around the embodiment of mindfulness. And what I mean by that is ourselves as people. So our physical experiences, our psychological experiences, which is obviously what we think about in terms of thoughts, rumination, um, getting stuck in the past, thinking about the future, that kind of stuff and
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
our emotions, like how we feel in our what I would say my heart space and what am I feeling emotionally, what am I carrying. What do you think's changed for you if you would think about you as the embodiment, um, and think about it from the perspective of you as a person? So the physical Dan, the psychological Dan, and the emotional Dan.
Oh, that's a tough question, that one, Steph.
Quite deep, isn't
Um,
it?
oh, yeah, yeah. It's one of those. Like I said, for me, I don't know. Emotionally, I'm in a much better place in the sense of, um, like like I said earlier, the patience and the not reacting to stuff. Um, for, I'm not sure if he's answered the question correctly because you put it so very thoroughly. But for me, it's the little things in life. It's the, like I've said this to a couple of people recently. Like my daughter's my world. Like she kind of always has been. But
Yeah.
the day my daughter was born, it was like the world changed completely. Like you look at that little baby and you go like, wow, like you're just in awe. You're in love. You're everything. And then as time progresses, unfortunately, life moves on, and you don't see them like that. I never, you're not present. Again, it's going back to the, she'd started school, and then it's like you come home from work and you had a long day, and it's like, how was your day at school? And you switch off. And now I see my daughter as that baby again, and I'm like, every time I'm with her, I'm like, I'm there and I'm fixated with her, and I'm like, it annoys her too. It annoys her no end now because I'm like, I'll do this weird little thing where I touch her just to feel her just for a split second, and then right, but now I take the piss out of her a little bit. I'm like, mindfulness. We'll then stop, and then we'll have a little laugh and a joke, and it's like, I need to touch you because it sets me, it grounds me, and it makes me feel present, and it's you, and it's my daughter, and same with my wife. Like we've all been there with when you fall in love with someone and the beauty, you think, oh, this woman's the most beautiful person I've ever seen. And again, life takes you down all these places and you stop seeing it for what it is. And I, I,
Oh,
I see my wife again now every day as this beautiful thing that I fell in love with, and it's such a nice place to be. I'm getting a little bit emotional talking about.
Jane, I'm filling up.
Yeah, because it's like you for some reason in society we forget that, don't we? We just we move on.
Yeah. I mean, that's you couldn't have said it better. You just said, I don't know if I'm going to answer this well, but that from an emotional perspective, I
Yeah.
don't think you could have said it better, mate, to be honest. I think that was
And that's it. But
beautiful.
it's the things you take for granted. I just don't anymore. Like, I really
Yeah.
don't. Friends, family, even work to a certain extent. Like I've always begrudged work, but I'm grateful to have I work in construction. It's long hours, but it pays the bills, and it's Monday to Friday. So, we
Yeah.
have good days, bad days, and different days. But there's always something now that I can use to improve my day. There's always someone
Yeah.
I can send a text message, or I can say just talk to someone, and by doing that mindfully, the world just falls back in place again, and
Yeah, I understand.
it's one of those. It's like
Yeah. And I suppose that's where some of the psychological stuff comes in. I'm wondering, like, do you notice anything in you in the physical sense? Like, and I might be overreaching a bit here because it might not be something you've explored, but
yeah,
when you move your body in certain ways, or
yeah.
whatever really, because if you're in
Yeah,
construction as well, you're
I do
moving about a lot,
I do a lot of walking. Like I'm office based,
Right.
not gonna lie, but I do a lot of walking. I walk the dog. 5 o'clock every morning. Me and my wife get up. We do it together now. Again, that's another thing. That's my little precious half hour in the morning walking the dog with the wife before the rest of the world's up. She gets up with me, and it's you feel it's you use your feet and your arms, and you feel yourself moving. And it's funny. Like I remember reading that like depressed people don't move very fast. They're quite sluggish, and they don't move their arms, and they kind of drag their feet. And I think I used to be like that. I remember my wife and people always saying to me, "Fucking hurry up!" Like I was always the person. I was always like slow in the supermarket, and like now I kind of I'm aware of even my body language when I'm doing things. I'm like shoulders up, like head up, like just like your body and your brain and your body know what's going on. So, like I said, it's like smiling. Like if you smile at someone, they will always smile back. Like it's simple. Generally, 99 times out of 100, they'll smile back. And it's almost you do the same with your body. If your body language, for me now, if my body language suggests shoulders back, I'm up and I'm ready to go. It's like it triggers your mind to do the same thing, and that's where you said the two. We traditionally we live very far apart from our brains, and our bodies don't talk to each
Oh,
other.
yes.
And I've lost about 3 stone since I started mindfulness, and that's not really through trying. Like I've always struggled with my weight. It's been something I've had my whole life, and for the first time in my life I'm losing weight, and I know why and I know how, and it's because I'm thinking. I'm eating like with my body rather than my brain, and it's
Yeah.
like today's a great example. I got home from work rushing around. I've had a bad couple of days at work, stressful. I would normally go home and eat and I've for some reason the last few days I've developed this. It's not been long. Developed this ability to recognise that I'm not hungry. I'm feeding my anxiety. I'm feeding my stress, rather than because nothing feels better than, or in your mind, it's like you're using food to you're hoping food will numb your pain, or
Yeah.
will take this. And for a brief moment, it kind of does. And then, unfortunately, after that, you're then left with this fucking horrible feeling of I'll get another 3 bowls of cereal. Or, tonight's a good example. Okay, my wife bought, there's a 4 pack of chocolate muffins in the kitchen earlier. I would have cut one in half and had half of one. And that's like unheard of for me. For years, I'd have been like, let's just shove 2 down my throat. It's been a long day at work. And now I'm just like, and I really enjoyed that half a muffin, and it was because I was concentrating on it, and I enjoyed every mouthful, and it was like
Lovely.
right, lovely. And I won't eat again now tonight. That's me done.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I'd probably do this podcast and go and grab a bag of crisps and a
Yeah.
chocolate bar and watch TV again, mindlessly eat. And so the two again, for
Yeah.
anyone struggling with weight loss, I'd say mindfulness is a brilliant way of coming to terms with that as well, because meditating, I said, it's improving. I'm not a scientist. I haven't picked up a fucking Bunsen burner since 1999 when I was doing my GCSEs at school. But I don't even, obviously, we're talking biology rather than physics or whatever. I don't even know which one's which, I don't think. But I know my brain's changing. I know by doing this, it will and carry on doing this, my brain will continuously keep changing. And it's the, like I said, it's the, I can, for the first time in my life, I've stopped binge eating, and I'm losing all this weight because I now I eat with my stomach rather than my brain. And we don't get very hungry. We're not actually hungry that often. I find now, when you actually think about it, I said majority of the
Yeah, yeah,
time, the majority of the time we're eating with our brains rather than our bodies. And that's for me, that's been a major product of meditation. Is I feel my body more. I feel pain. I feel pain a lot more than I used to, and it's like it's not necessarily a good thing, but I know it's there sooner rather than you just kind of live with it. And it's, as I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
and it's all a brilliant byproduct of mindfulness meditation. And I said it can help
yeah.
you. And it's funny because I gave up smoking reading an Alan Carr book years and years ago. Like 5 years ago, I gave up smoking, and the principle's kind of the same. It's like you face the you kind of turn towards the itch rather than try to avoid it. And
Very
now,
good.
yeah, and it's like it's the same thing with food. I'm like, I know what's going on now. Like my brain just wants me to eat because it's
Yeah,
it's habitual, and it's like for years. Or I said, again, I'm no psychiatrist, but I know that my brain is trying to trick my body into thinking that food will, or alcohol or whatever will improve your mood, or a cigarette. And it's
yeah,
like I
yeah,
said,
yeah,
I'm convinced you can probably use mindfulness to stop anything if you wanted to,
yeah.
fear, phobia.
Or start.
Yeah, or start
Yeah,
it.
you could use it to stop or start something, couldn't you? For
Yeah.
sure. I think it's something that like really resonates with me that you just said, just around movement and this kind of sense of you're out walking 5 o'clock in the morning and you're actually like really feeling the body in a
Yeah,
way that you've never felt it before. And that kind of comes back to the storytelling around the hanging the washing out, right? Is that you're changing the sheets, is you're just being present with what is going on. And I
mm,
think what's really important that people listening to this could try to understand, or maybe read a bit more on, or learn a bit more on, is that all the while we are doing something that helps us to remain present, and I mean present as in this moment right now.
yeah,
We
yeah,
are only ever in this moment right now. We're not in the past. And in the past, that's where regret lives. That's where stress lives. In the past, that's where guilt lives a lot of the time. And we're definitely not in the future if we're present. And in the
yeah,
future,
yeah.
it's where worry and anxiety
Anxiety
lives.
is 100%.
It's
Yeah,
where we're guessing what might happen,
100%. And
living in
that's
the
that's
future.
my
And
people.
movement,
People say to me, "Do you meditate?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like I said, I've broached the subject with lots of people now, and I said, like, "How many times a day do you meditate?" Then and I'm like, I meditate hundreds of times a day. Like
yeah,
literally, I'm kind of meditating all the time. Like
yeah,
every other minute, I'm doing something where I'm thinking, what am I touching? What am I holding? What am I? And again, that goes back to the brain just keeping you in the present. Like you said, the only time you can live is right now. That's the whole point, really, of meditation. Is
yeah,
you're only living for the only time you can really be alive and live is right now, and that's what this is all about. And like I said,
yeah,
it's it be no matter be it who you with, what you're feeling, what you're smelling, what you're touching, whatever. It's just being in that moment and your senses, and they all help
yeah,
ground you, and they all help
yeah,
you appreciate. Like I said, the anxiety is a big one for me, and this resonates that we 95% of the stuff we worry about is never going to happen. Like it's not. It's just the way our brains are, and by meditating, if you're living for now, as I said, you're all right. You're safe because
yeah,
99% of the time you're in a safe place, and as I said, you're with nice people, or you're in nature, or wherever you might be. There's always plenty of things just to keep you grounded and keep you in the moment and keep you present.
yeah. There's a great teacher called Jack Cornfield, quite famous, does a lot of work in the States, and I won't get this quote spot on, but one of the things that Jack Cornfield says is that um, when if you practice mindful movement and walking, as you talked about earlier, your experience of walking first thing in the morning, in practicing mindful movement, and it can be something as simple as being present while you're walking. Your brain is not lying to you. So if you're when you're moving your body, your brain is not lying to you because your body can only focus on the movement, right?
Yeah,
Whereas if you are sat still, let's say, and you're trying to do a meditation practice, the mind will wander, because it will, and we know that, don't we? You talked about it earlier. Is that you can sit in a 5 minute meditation, your mind can wander 100 times in 5 minutes. Human
Yeah, yeah,
beings have between 60 and 80,000 thoughts a day. So to think that we can sit still for a 5 minute grounding practice and the mind not wander, we are completely balmy. Of course, it's going to wander. But Jack Cornfield's point is that meditation through movement, it's much likely that much less likely that the mind is going to wander, because your
yeah, yeah,
body always tells you the truth about what's going
yeah.
on,
Right. I think
right?
that's why people find exercise a
They
good.
do, yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah,
things like hit training, weightlifting, running at speeds, those kind of things, because
yeah,
you can
yeah.
only really focus on that
Can't,
to keep yourself
can't think
going.
of can't think about too much whilst you're running, or as you said,
No.
you know, cycling or whatever it is. It's generally it's
No,
like
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I just want to point something out to you, because I don't know. I think this was a fantastic moment, actually, Dan, and I think it's great for people watching this, if they're watching rather than listening.
yeah,
Um, you said earlier that mindfulness, the thing for mindfulness for you is that it really helps you to be present and pay attention to right in that moment. And as you were talking about that, you slowed right down.
really,
Yeah, you slowed right down. You're really articulate. It was when you said, I'm meditating all the time, like it's probably 100 times a day, and you just were like so present, like in that storytelling moment. I was like, that is
yeah,
exactly it. You just demonstrated it there and then. It was brilliant. So I hope people see that, and that is kind of something people can engage with. Anyway, look, last question of the session,
yeah.
last question of the pod is, and you've started to touch on this already a little bit. I think it's really important that people know, what is it that you're finding difficult still. So
Um,
you're 20 months in to
yeah,
meditating plus some,
yeah,
and you're still meditating every day formally, as in sitting meditation formally every day, and then
yeah,
you're doing these like bite-sized chunks of meditation throughout the day where you're just paying attention
yeah, yeah.
in
That's
the
right.
moment in a particular way. But what is it? What is it for you that you're still finding
My
difficult? What's challenging?
my big two are first thing in the morning. Like I still wake up feeling anxious most mornings, like the kind of impending sense of doom still, which takes some working on. Like I tend to just do like a try again, just try and ground myself as soon as I wake up. Just I feel for my wife and touch her, and weird, like I said, like kind of feel where I'm supporting myself on a bed, or where I'm laying, or how I'm lying down, and obviously a bit of breathing. But yeah, sometimes that's hard to shake off for me. Certainly, the one thing I don't do is wake up with like this spring in my step. Like I'm not. I still, my dream would be one day just to wake up and go, yes, I'm like, I said I've still got this
Oh,
little, still, and work for me is still one that I work in a reasonably stressful environment, and it's like I had a very very bad day yesterday, and I was struggling. I was coping, I was trying my hardest to kind of meditate and ground myself and stop my thoughts and stop worrying and stop fretting over my day at work. And I struggled really badly yesterday. So yeah, in that respect, still a lot of hard work to do to try and I said alleviate that one. I said I'd like to.
yeah,
My dream would be just to wake up every morning with a big smile on my face, and I get there. I get there by, like I said, I'm up at 5. Generally, about half a mile into my morning walk, it kind of it helps me. I'm kind of
kicks
again,
in.
it kicks in. I'm all right. Like the endorphins have kind of started to appear. And I said 2 years ago, my whole dog walk was hell. Not hell, but it was like that's where I'd be like anxious the whole way round, and then I'd be anxious in the shower, and then I'd be anxious on the way to work. But generally, I said now is that first, I said that first 100 paces, and I feel the ground beneath my feet and the fresh air, and I start talking to my wife, and I look at my dog, and I'm feeling the lead in my hand, and it's kind of like that's when I'm all right again. Then, so yeah, for me, it would
Yeah.
just be I would like to be in that place. The second my foot touches
As
the
soon as you wake up.
soon as my foot touches the bedroom floor, yeah. I said, and that's
Oh,
for me. That's the one. That's still the one. So like I said, that I'm 2 years down
yeah,
the line, very much a work in progress still.
yeah, yeah. I get that.
It's
I
it.
get that.
Me, it's the anxiety is still. I'm not going to lie and say I don't get it, but I it doesn't consume me for a whole weekend or for hours on end. It might just be a little burst, 20 minutes here and there, and then I might do a little bit of meditation or go for a walk or just be present, or just as I said, you can't fight it. That's the one thing about mindfulness is, that's the one thing I do know now is that you can't fight with stuff like anxiety and depression. You have to ride it out. You have to just let it be what it is, and kind of be nice to yourself, and I tell myself now, like, it's all right to be depressed, it's all right to be anxious, and having those thoughts instantly kind of takes the edge off it, and then you
Yeah.
just, like I said, you live with it, and you kind of concentrate on it, and it goes. It's like a cloud in the sky. It's a black cloud. It's there, and it goes a lot quicker, rather than it being, rather than the cloud being all black. There's just a black cloud, and it eventually, willows away, and it does come back some days.
Uplift.
But it lifts a lot quicker now, and
Yeah.
the sun comes out a lot sooner. And most days now
Yeah.
are sunny and
Nice.
bright and good. Like I said, it's not all roses. It's not all, overexcitement and happiness. But I said, from where I was 18 months, 2 years ago, the world certainly is a much more beautiful place.
Yeah. And I think what you've just done there is like really help people to understand that it is a journey. And as cheesy as that sounds, I was saying to you and I when we got talking about this podcast way back, that people, unfortunately, they do come into these kind of teaching or learning education opportunities and think, I'm going to do this because it will. I'm speaking very generally here. Just want to
Yeah,
make that
yeah,
really clear. But because I need to fix myself, I want something to make me feel better. And actually, most people might do 4 or 6 or 8 weeks worth of work or sessions once a week, meeting up with somebody that's doing mindfulness therapeutic based work or in a group, but that really is only scratching the surface and almost preparing you to then be able to move forward and make it a life's work.
yeah, yeah,
And when I say it's a life's work, what I'm not saying is you've got to spend hours and hours on it for the rest of your life, but I am saying it is a way of life. It's a way of life. It is about finding a discipline where you come to the seat or your movement, mindful movement, on a daily basis as best as you possibly can, no matter what is going on or how you're feeling.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I always say to people, there's only one discipline in mindfulness, only one, and that's getting your backside on the seat and doing the practice, no matter how you feel.
yeah,
But people often talk in the early days, in the beginner stages, about wanting it to feel good. So I didn't do it today because I didn't feel good and I wanted it to feel good. And I'm like, no, that's the point.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the point, is because it's about being with the experience exactly as it is and turning towards it. And you used that phrase earlier about smoking, the smoking cessation. And actually, that the premise of that was about turning towards the feelings as they were arising
yeah,
and
yeah,
not pushing them away. And that's really, really important, is that mindfulness is about being with the experience exactly as it is, good, bad, and indifferent. And the only discipline in mindfulness is getting your ass sat on that seat and doing your meditation every day. Or if it's
that's it.
movement based, doing movement.
And it's
And
weird. I've actually got something written. I can't think where I saw this, but it's written up on my little whiteboard in I use this little office thing we've got as a gym, and
I love it.
you
I love
can
the
see
little office. It's
in
brilliant.
my little collectibles behind me. It says "fuck motivation." Motivation isn't there 99% of the time. Just make it habit. Habits will get you. It says exercising every day on there, and I do now. But it's not just you can lose that word exercising and put in there meditate, and it would have exactly the same.
Practice. It's a
The same.
practice, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
like it's habitual now. It's like
Yeah.
brushing my teeth. It's like having my cup of coffee. It's like, and it's something that's with me. And like I said, I've only just really scratched the surface, but the basics are there for me now.
Yeah.
And I said it hasn't, you know, you by being mindful, you find more time. Like I said earlier, the making the bed analogy, like you do that in 2 minutes rather than 15 minutes. You do the washing line in 2 minutes rather than 20 minutes. It's like
Yeah.
you find yourself with all this time because you're present, and I said, it's when you find that's when you find time for other things. And I've become this really selfish person in the sense that I do what I want to do most of the time now. But what I want to do most of the time now is spend it with my wife and my daughter and my friends. And it's like that's the perfect place for me to be in from where I used to be.
Beautiful. It's a lovely way to end, Dan. What a beautiful thing to say at the end.
There you
So
go.
nice. And you know what? When you wake up in the morning, you sit on the side of your bed and you think, is this going to be the day that that cloud lifts and I do feel differently?
Yeah.
There's a fantastic Buddhist teacher called Thich Nhat Hanh, and his famous phrase is smile, breathe, and go slowly. And those three words, whenever I wake up and feel low, because I'm the same as you, I haven't got this sussed. Even after all these years, I ain't got it sussed. And
Yeah.
anybody doing this work, even if they've been doing it for 30 or 40 years, will tell you they have not got it sussed, right? So, but smile, breathe, and go slowly are the three words that I have etched in my heart. And every day when I have a low moment, and I've had a shitty week this week, the same as you have, mate. So I'm there with you, honestly. All I keep saying to myself is, Steph, smile, breathe, and go slowly because everything will be okay. You're going to be fine. So thank you
There you
so
go.
much, Dan. What a beautiful way to finish.
No
And I look
problem.
forward to our third episode.
See you next week.
See you next week. Brilliant.
Thank you.
I wish you